So, it's been a little while since I recorded my last video, and there's no real particular reason for that, to be honest with you guys, but I kind of always with this channel like it to be the reality of spirituality, so I thought I'd try and bring you up to date with kind of how I'm currently feeling and what's going on in my life a little bit. I don't feel like there's many places on the internet that actually do that, and I'm kind of getting a bit long in the tooth, as I've said on other videos, with people that like to portray this spiritual image, that everything in life is always hunky-dory and works just absolutely perfectly when you become in that total consciousness. No, it just doesn't work like that. I've said it before, spirituality, as you're trying to learn it, or as you're trying to come into your true self and you're letting go of those old egoic beliefs and whatnot, it's a very tough and challenging time. But the difference is now is that when you become spiritual, there's always this underlying tone of kind of everything's okay, but it doesn't mean that things don't get a little bit tough in the meantime. And so for me, for example, for over the last 4 weeks or so, apart from my live recording, which actually went wrong, some of you saw that, but over the last 4 weeks or so, there's been a whole host of things that have been going on in my life outside here, and those things have been quite taxing. They've been quite draining on me, and if I don't get a chance where I can actually be kind of true to myself, in other words, if I have to kind of dumb down my consciousness, if you like, that's an awful thing to say, but I'm going to leave it in. But if I have to dumb down my consciousness in order to placate other people around me, I actually find that really exhausting. Much like some of you might have that if you have to have small talk with people in life. Sometimes you can talk about the football match, but it's actually completely boring to you, and therefore it can become very tiring. So I found myself in environments like that over the last sort of 4 weeks or so. But what I wanted to actually point out more than anything on this was that although things for me at the moment are feeling quite flat on that front, that's perfectly normal, by the way, guys. When you become spiritual, no matter how conscious you are, I think there's a few beings on the planet that maybe don't get like that. But no matter how conscious you become, how aware you become, how spiritual you become, there are always periods where you're going to feel flat. That's perfectly normal as well. And it's the knowing that these situations are perfectly normal where they actually then become okay and acceptable and easy to move through. But anyway, I've digressed off topic a little bit there. But no, I haven't actually. It was on topic. I just digressed off of what I was talking about. Right, okay, now we're starting to digress. Here we go. But what I wanted to get across was every time I was trying to hit record on these videos to leave something that might be of benefit to you guys who are listening, or struggling in dark night of the soul, I was being hit with a blank. So I was constantly, like literally guys, being hit with a lack of ability to speak when I hit record. So what I decided to do was earlier on today, or it might have been yesterday, I thought, I'll go live, I'll do another live stream. And then that way it forces me into that position to speak. So what I did was I set up and I went live. I hit the live. Within 3 minutes, my phone actually ran out of data and the live collapsed on me whilst I was live. Thankfully, I don't think anyone was watching and only a couple of you actually saw that. But it made me think that, okay, I'm trying to force things out now. This is the lack of surrender, by the way. I'm trying to force things out. I'm trying to go against the grain of what it is that I'm feeling. So what do I mean by that? Okay, I kind of knew that deep down, I didn't want to be recording. I knew there was a reason that I was hitting a blank. However, the egoic mind, all those beliefs, all those traditional beliefs, generational beliefs, the garbage that gets pumped into us from society starts screaming at you. I've worked so hard on this YouTube channel to kind of build this up, and I've loved the hard work that I've put into it, by the way, so I don't mean that as a kind of, you know, I'm a hero type thing. No, I've absolutely loved the journey, but it's still very hard work to do it. So everything in my mind is telling me I need to record. I need to record. All my subscribers are gonna go. It was the noticing that was what was happening. that I then become very kind of aware that when I went live and it collapsed, bear with me here, I'm trying to get there, that when I went live and it collapsed on me, that I thought, actually, do you know what? Why this is all going wrong is because there's other areas in my life that need to be sorted out. There's other areas that maybe are not functioning properly, and perhaps I'm not being allowed to record at the moment because I'm not meant to be recording at the moment. And it was the collapsing of the live stream, which you would think would be highly embarrassing, that I actually looked at and went, okay, that's the final signal that I need to actually just allow myself, now this is where it gets interesting, to just allow myself to not record. I've worked very hard on this channel. You guys have always been very loyal and shown me a lot of love and support. You're not going anywhere, or some of you might disappear, but the majority of you will stay there. And I also have I know I kind of have a hardcore base of you guys as well. Thank you so much. And so I kind of knew the channel's not going to collapse. Nothing in life is actually going to happen. And that's when I thought, okay, let me do this video based off of my lack of being able to actually communicate at the moment, or my lack of ability to be able to give a message of that I feel is of any benefit to anyone. Let me actually document that for two reasons. First one, you can actually see that during Dark Night of the Soul, and no matter how conscious you become and spiritual you become, things will still go wrong, but it's the allowing of those things to go wrong that kind of makes life a lot easier than it once was when we were still serving the egoic mind in the Matrix. And the second one is now totally gone out of my head. The surrendering to the current situation. So it's that, let me show the guys how surrendering actually then frees you up. This is why I'm now communicating, not as good as I have done before. I kind of know that I'm going around the houses a bit, but I'm still communicating, which is a damn sight more than I was able to do all the other days when I tried to hit record. And it purely come through that complete surrender of, okay, I'm not going to record. It's now a choice. I've made it a choice, rather than something that I felt that the ego mind was making a problem, that the ego mind was telling me, I'm now no good, I'm going to lose my subscribers, I've got nothing to say, perhaps I've dried up, what if I don't record content anymore, etc, etc, etc. We all know how the mind goes. It was the complete surrendering to the, no, it's now going to be my choice. I'm now not going to record. I'm going to take a break from it, and I'm going to explore how I feel when I sit in silence. I'm going to explore my inner feelings, my inner intuitions, like I normally do. Let me just digress here. This is the other thing. When we become spiritual, we think that we've got to maintain a certain way of being at all times. No, we don't. Being spiritual means that when you fall victim into that egoic mind, you notice that after a period, and it's then when you notice that, then it's the doing something about that. The kind of, I'm working through the mind. This is why things are going wrong. And then the surrender to that. Can you see that? I'm kind of aware I'm maybe not articulating this message as well as I have done in the past. I kind of know that, but I'm hoping it's kind of interesting, and I feel like it's a piece of content that's valuable because you can again see the kind of messiness of Dark Night of the Soul. I'm still there with you guys. The only difference is now maybe with myself and some of the guys watching, and some of you who are really struggling, is the kind of ability to be able to surrender to what is, the surrendering to life, the surrendering to situations and environments, and being completely comfortable with that surrender. And some of you are still learning that, which I'm hoping this video helps you kind of see that a little bit. And for those guys who know how to surrender, then they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's the beauty of the surrender, guys. So for the last however long I've hit record, nothing was coming out, like literally no words, nothing was coming out. I then decide, okay, I see what I'm doing, I'm working through the mind. I then pay attention to that. sit and meditate. I went for a very, I think it was about a 15-mile walk in silence, up the river, back in nature, shoes and socks off at certain points, walking through the grass, get grounded, drink my H2O. I'd already journaled in the morning. For the first 90 minutes of every day, by the way, guys, I don't touch my phone or anything. I'm kind of outside, and I sit in silence and I look at the sun, and, you know, I get all the good stuff. I win the day before I allow the day to take over me. That was a good line. I win the day before I allow the day to take over me. That's a good line. Some of you might want to really grab hold of that one. The reason I've forgotten the videos because I'm like, oh, I want to keep that. But yeah, so I then realised what I was doing, and then it's that total acceptance of the situation. It's that total clarity moment of the mind is running away with the drama of not being able to record. Once I'd noticed that's what happened, then it's that acceptance, that moment. It's hard to explain because as always with me, guys, I try to explain how a feeling feels so that you can kind of understand the physical side of it. It's actually really difficult to do. I love doing it though. So it's kind of, once I realised I was doing that, it's then that total acceptance of, okay, it's not as bad as the mind is making it out to be. Let me just accept. Let me choose to not record. And so through the choosing of not to record, and this was literally only today or maybe yesterday, that I kind of come to that, and I'm going to choose to now not record. It was through the choosing to not record. I'd now made this a choice. That I cleared the space up. The voices quietened down. The egoic mind disappeared. Through that spaciousness was now this video is being delivered. It gave me that clarity of, Toby, do what you always do. Record how you feel in that moment. That I had forgotten to do that. And that's simply the end of that story. It's a very long-winded way around of explaining that. But I'm going to release this one, guys. It's probably not my best video in the world. But hey, I think it's awesome that you guys can sometimes see the reality of it. I know some of you think that I'm... and I say this not through me. I say this because you've mentioned it in emails. A couple of you have... this makes me laugh. Actually thought that perhaps I was enlightened. No. Really, guys, no. What I am, I have a lovely insight into my own life. An insight that once always eluded me and would normally face a life of panic and stress and worry over things that I was or wasn't doing. I now don't have that. I can feel that at the early stages of if I'm doing that. That's what spirituality is. That's what consciousness is. It's coming into that. I've been a bit unconscious there. Unconscious means running through the ego mind. That's my take on unconsciousness. Running through the ego mind, running through the matrix mind. I've become unconscious there. Let me bring myself back to consciousness. I've become aware of the voices. Look at the hand movements I'm doing today. See, I don't know what all this is about. But, you know, it's becoming aware of that ego voice. Once I become aware of that, that's being back to consciousness through that spaciousness. I can then deliver this message. No, I wasn't talking about that. We were talking about the enlightenment. No. So I have a lovely way now of noticing these areas in my life that I know I need to kind of concentrate on. I'm very good at reading my intuitions, and I'm very good at staying, what's the word I'm looking for here? Staying steadfast and not giving in to panic. Like there's things going on out here that would make a lot of people panic and have knee-jerk reactions to them. I kind of don't do that anymore. And every single time I do that, something comes back. So it resolves itself in the way it needs to. It resolves itself, whatever the problem is, it resolves itself naturally rather than having been forced to be resolved via the ego mind, which generally means we make irrational decisions, which then ultimately, eventually, in one way or another, lead to doom and gloom. You know, which is why it's so good to actually find your true self. Anyway, guys, that's a 15-minute video. I hope that was a bit interesting. I hope you just enjoyed it, if anything, and maybe you got some good little bits out of it. I'm going to try and start recording a hell of a lot more content because I want I want to turn this into a habit like it was when I first started this channel, when I was recording pretty much every other day, and I grew very fast. So then come off the boil off that recently, partly because of the winter months really kind of exhausted me. It's very, very hard living in here through the winter months. So I'm actually extremely proud of myself that I kept the whole videos going through that period. And it was a wonderful test of that spirituality, a wonderful test of my own consciousness, to see if I stay, to see how I react when I'm in those environments. And I kind of feel like I've done a great job for myself. Anyway, I'm proud. But that's kind of why, as well, I'm also going to be hitting the road with the tent in my backpack. I've done it. I've challenged myself through here in the winter months, and now it's time to kind of challenge myself, having even less in life, being in the tent, being out in the wild, having no set base to go. I feel like there's areas of me I still want to explore. I feel like there's areas of me that need to come out, and I would like to share it with you guys. I will do a more in-depth video on my journeys, or my plan about my journey, or lack of plan about my journey, before I go. In the meantime, let me shut up now. I'm glad this one is done. I don't know why all the hand movements are there today. I don't know why I'm being particularly playful in this video with that. But hey, it is what it is, and it's wonderful. So anyway, it's great to be back. It's lovely to talk to you guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for staying loyal. Thank you so much for your support. Hello to the new subscribers that have come along, which haven't been very many lately. Understandable, really. And of course, to all my old subbies and my hardcore basic guys, I love you all to pieces. Thank you so much, guys, and peace.